Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Madam Rohaiza binti Jubri. I am Nurulhuda binti Aziz Alliance Khalid, metric number 825752 from Applied Linguistic Programs. So this is going to be my seminar presentation for this course for the third semester session this year. Without further ado, let me share the contents from the PowerPoint slides which I have prepared. The first one, we will look at the salient theory from affective filter. Affective filter is a term originally coined by linguist Stephen Krashen in the 1970s. It is invisible and also known as a psychological filter which either aids or deters the process of language acquisition. Under filter, there are two situations when affective filter exists. The first one is when affective filter is at an increased level, while the second one is when the filter is at a decreased level. When the filter is at an increased level, language development is deterred and thus prevent the input or output of information. When the filter is at a decreased level, the invisible wall has been lowered and thus allowing for more input and facilitating successful language acquisition. A low affective filter results in an increased self-confidence, the desire to explore, learn, and even take theories. What a high affective filter looks like. A high affective filter can hinder the development of language acquisition as well as have an all-around negative impact on the learner. There are few elements which would contribute to a heightened affective filter. The first one is boredom. Next is tasks resulting in low success rates. Third is inappropriate error correction and negative tone and body language. We know what boredom is. When boredom exists, language learners totally will be disengaged and totally feel bored about the lesson because they lack of understanding since they do not understand a word. The task resulting in low success rates. An English language learner student faced with a developmentally inappropriate multiple-step task might have feelings of being overwhelmed and inadequate. The third one, inappropriate error correction. When we would like to make any error correction, we have to decide if what we are correcting really needs to be corrected. Is it cause a major breakdown in communication? If not, we have to let it go. Is it might embarrass the student? It might embarrass the student. So then also we definitely must let it go. The negative tone and body language. If we don't understand, if the learner do not understand the words that being spoken to them, they do not understand the words they are being spoken loudly. The significant findings from the research articles pertaining to affective filter. Research identifies a cause for poor performance of adult English as a foreign language learners in Saudi Arabia. The research article that I am doing now is to test the hypothesis that one major cause behind learners' failure may be affective filter. The basic question from the research article, whether adult English foreign language learners raise their affective filters to block the input under the influence of certain affective factors, and whether a change in the class environment brings a change in learners' motivation. The data from the research article were collected through questionnaires and a model teaching program based on a change in classroom environment, where It was developed and tested with a group of learners at the selected universities in Saudi Arabia. The results show that English foreign language learners in Saudi Arabia raised affective filters and that a change in classroom environment did help learners lower their affective filters. In Saudi Arabia, English is taught as a foreign language. So one possible reason is that adult learners come to class with affective barriers, and classroom environment may have something to do with it. It was once a bit intimidating for some learners. It was shared by Sabah in 2013 and Al Nasser in 2015. The three major affective factors behind them, which are low motivation, low self-confidence, and high language anxiety, which Christians in 1987 calls affective filters. Christian's idea is that only comprehensible input is not enough for successful acquisition of a foreign language. The belief is that frustration and nervousness may be induced by a certain kind of class atmosphere. The literature review. Let's look at Kohn in 1995. Kohn says that Kohn groups barriers into three categories, which are institutional barriers, situational barriers, and dispositional barriers. As our learners, second language learners raise their affective filters for various reasons, such as disinterest, tiredness, bad health, and so on. Whereas Balstock in 1997 believes that correspondence between language structures in the first and second language is the most important factor affecting acquisition. The focus of the study is on classroom environment. To some learners may not appear to be conducive, prompting them to have low motivation, low self-confidence, and high anxiety. Motivation. Research on motivation seen as an affective filter and its effects on language learning show mixed results. We have the first one, we have the negative results from Yagisi in 1991, which says that motivation doesn't find a strong relationship between students' attitude towards English and their performance in the language, whereas Al-McLaughlin and Raghuram share their positive views about motivation. Al-McLaughlin in 2010 finds that motivation plays a very significant role in learning a foreign language, while Raghuram in 2015 also reports a positive relation between motivation and foreign language learning. The self-confidence. Learner self-confidence can be enhanced through some measures which generate a feeling of responsibility and independence among learners. That was by Lacey and Ryan 2002 and so on by others. Anxiety. Creation in 1981 claims that there appears to be a consistent relationship between various forms of anxiety and language proficiency in all situations, which include formal and informal. Anxiety level may thus be a very potent influence of the affective process. Data reveals that reasons behind participants' negative screening are low motivation to learn English, low self-confidence to use English in context, and high language anxiety. Major factor behind affective filters is learners' negative self-evaluation owing to language production anxiety, low self-confidence, and low level of motivation to learn English, as 29% of the subject population reports the influence of these affective factors on their English learning experience. The result supports question number 4, that a change in classroom atmosphere can bring about a change in learner self-evaluation. The study is very significant as its findings may prove helpful to English foreign language teachers in Saudi Arabia to create a conducive environment in their classes to have learners feel at ease to learn English. The study is concluded with a recommendation that English foreign language teachers may replicate the experiment in their settings to test the efficacy of the hypothesis on psychological aspects of foreign language learning. The strengths and weaknesses. There are two things found from the article. The primary strength of the present study is that it explores a to an unexplored area of research in Saudi Arabian context. The study also highlights one of the major factors responsible for poor performance among adult Saudi English foreign language and suggests empirically tested corrective measures. The weakness from the research is because it bears significance not only for students from both sexes but also for all the students in the kingdom. So the research setting should somehow have been larger to draw any definitive conclusions. The research worked bound by certain cultural restrictions, which became another limitation of the study. It is hoped that future research studies will address these issues and will arrive at more encompassing conclusions. The application to my teaching context. Okay, that's the end of my PowerPoint slides. I will show you now. Now let me show you. Okay, the next. Okay, I will show you now. I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue with application to my own teaching context. There is a direct relationship between classroom atmosphere and learners' negative self-evaluation, causing learners to raise their affective filters. Therefore, a positive change in the classroom atmosphere could bring about a positive change in learners' attitude towards English. Therefore, I will set my goal to provide an environment which facilitates the lowest levels of the affective filter. So when the filter is low, the learner is in an emotionally safe place. These feelings of safety lower the imaginary walls, promoting more successful language acquisitions. Some components which I would apply in my classroom language teaching are highly engaging and varied teaching materials and styles, high success, confidence building tasks, appropriate area correction, and positive tone and body language. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoy it. So thank you. Assalamualaikum.